Welcome to this webinar on creating your resume for the Carlson School of Management, developed by the Graduate Business Career Center. During this workshop, we're going to walk you through strategies to help you create the best possible resume to assist you in your job or internship search. The GBCC has a number of resources that you can use to develop your resume during your time in the program. This webinar is designed to be your first step to help you get started in developing a graduate-level resume that you will use for recruiting at Carlson. Before we get started, let's go over our agenda. First, we'll review the purpose of a resume and introduce you to the Carlson resume template that is required for all students in the Carlson School of Management. Next, we'll talk about what to include on your resume and then share some simple tips to ensure that you're effectively marketing your resume to your target audience. Then we'll go over some resume development basics as we walk you through the different sections of the Carlson resume template. We'll then go into greater detail as we share some key strategies and best practices for writing high-impact, results-oriented bullets to describe your past experiences. Finally, we'll end with some next steps that you can take after this workshop to help you complete the process of creating a polished and professional resume. Before we get started, we want to take a moment to review the purpose of a resume. The resume is intended to be a carefully selected sample of skills and experiences from your professional background that are relevant to the job that you're applying for. It is not intended to be a list of everything that you've ever done, but rather an introduction to some of your key skills and experiences to help an employer to get to know you and to better understand how you're a good fit for their position. Before you sit down to write your resume, spend some time reflecting on yourself and on your key skills, experiences, and accomplishments as they relate to the types of positions that you'll be targeting in your job or internship search. This is going to help you better get a sense of your personal brand that you're trying to market to potential employers. The job search is all about marketing yourself. All of the marketing tools that you'll develop during your time in the program, such as your resume, cover letter, your positioning statement, and your LinkedIn profile, are all part of your marketing toolkit that you'll use to sell yourself to employers. To help you create the best possible resume for your job or internship search, we've created an easy-to-use template for all students at the Carlson School of Management. We developed the Carlson template based on feedback we receive from our employers and corporate partners. Recruiters are often looking for specific pieces of information on a resume, such as previous employers, job titles, areas of emphasis, and years of work experience. Having all resumes in the same format allows recruiters to find this information quickly and compare candidates more efficiently. If done well, a one-page resume allows you to quickly and succinctly communicate your personal brand to employers while highlighting relevant skills, experiences, and accomplishments. Top business schools across the globe are using a similar one-page format, as this is a best practice. For Carlson-sponsored recruiting activities, all graduate students must have a resume that is formatted according to the Carlson resume template. You'll use this resume when applying for jobs and internships through TalentLink, Carlson's online recruitment tool. In addition, your resume will be included in a resume book that will be sent to hundreds of employers during your time in the Carlson School of Management. Therefore, it's important that all resumes that are included in this resume book have the same consistent look and feel. When applying for jobs outside of the Carlson recruiting process, you may consider some alternative formats. However, when applying to positions advertised through the school, you must use the Carlson template. Please make an appointment with a career coach to discuss any questions that you might have about alternative resume formats. Now that we've introduced you to the Carlson resume template, you may be feeling a little overwhelmed by the task of fitting all of your professional experiences onto a single page. Don't worry. Next, we're going to share a few simple strategies to help you determine what to include on your resume and what to eliminate. These strategies are intended to help you make the best choices to support you in your job search. When trying to decide what to include on your resume, it's important to know your audience. Many students often make the mistake of creating a one-size-fits-all resume that they can use when applying for lots of different types of jobs and internships. However, this is not the best strategy to use in your search because you cannot possibly convey a clear brand message with your resume if you're trying to appeal to every employer out there. Each time you apply for a position, you should ask yourself, what are recruiters looking for? Why would an employer be interested in learning more about you and inviting you to an interview? Ask yourself these questions as you sit down to write your resume. In order to answer this question, you have a lot of great resources at your disposal. First, it's important to familiarize yourself with job descriptions that represent the types of positions to which you'll be applying. Know what recruiters are looking for and know the language that they use to describe it. Let's walk through a demonstration of this principle to help get you started. Let's say you're interested in checking out sample job descriptions for marketing internships for MBAs. Simply search for sample job description, MBA marketing intern, and let's see what comes up. Let's check out this first link to Indeed.com. Scroll through job postings until you find one that fits your interests and professional goals. Now, read the job description to get a better sense of what the company is looking for in terms of key competencies for this position. Under Job Duties, Responsibilities, and Skills, you can find a wealth of information about what the job entails. You can also see the preferred competencies that this employer is looking for in strong candidates for the position. Finally, be sure to keep an eye out for any basic qualifications. You'll want to be sure that you're communicating that you have these skills either in your resume or cover letter. Using the same approach, now complete the worksheet that was included with this webinar, entitled Tailoring Your Carlson Resume. Company websites and social media pages can also help you better understand the way that certain companies talk about desirable skills and competencies when they're recruiting qualified talent. Be sure to check out a company's Facebook and LinkedIn company pages before applying for a job posting with the company. LinkedIn can also be a great resource for learning more about what your audience is looking for. Spend some time reading profiles of people who have the jobs that you're targeting to see how they represent themselves in the marketplace. What themes do you notice? What are some industry buzzwords that you keep seeing again and again? What are some of the key skills and experiences that other professionals in your target function and industry seem to have in common? Finally, networking and informational interviewing can help you learn a lot about what companies and recruiters are looking for. By speaking with professionals who are familiar with the functions, industries, and companies that you're targeting, you'll be able to get a clearer picture of how you should be representing yourself, as well as your skills and experiences. When we survey recruiters, the skills that you see here are the most commonly cited competencies that companies are looking for in graduate-level talent across the board in many different functions and across many different industries. Therefore, as you're deciding what to include on your resume and what to leave off, focus on key competencies such as these that are most important to your audience. Now let's talk about some resume development basics as we walk you through the different sections of the Carlson resume template. You can pause this webinar at any time during the next few slides in order to work on your resume as you move through the presentation. Let's dive in and review the first section of the Carlson resume template, the personal information section. At the top of your resume, you'll include your full first and last name, as it will appear on all professional correspondence throughout your job search. Next, please include your address, including city, state, as well as your zip code. You will also include your phone number, including the area code. You may choose to use either a cell phone number or a home phone number. However, be sure that your use of this contact information is consistent throughout your process of applying for jobs and internships. Also, if you select to use your cell phone number as your primary means of contact, be sure that your outgoing voicemail message is professional and appropriate for use with employers. Finally, include your email address. It is recommended that you use your University of Minnesota email address for all of your professional correspondence during your time in the program. Next, we're going to focus on the education section of the resume. The education section falls at the top of the resume template because at this point in your professional career, pursuing your master's degree is one of your strongest selling points to employers. Here we've included the name of the institution as well as the city and state for you. Select a month from the drop-down menu and complete the form to provide your graduation month and year. For MBA students, you may wish to include an emphasis if you already know what your focus is going to be during your time in the program. For example, you may select a concentration such as marketing, finance, consulting, or supply chain and operations and include this information in this section. Please note that there are different resume templates for MBA students and students pursuing other master's degrees at Carlson. Be sure that you're following the template that's appropriate for your program. All of these templates can be found on the GBCC intranet page, and there are separate templates for use with both PCs as well as Mac computers. Many students ask if they should include their GPA or GMAT scores on their resume. As a general rule, if your test scores are extremely high, that is, in the mid-700s and above for GMAT, or 3.8 and above for GPA, you might consider including them, as these scores can differentiate you from other applicants. This is especially important if you're targeting an industry such as investment banking or strategy consulting, where test scores and GPAs are often used as selection criteria. Otherwise, most recruiters are not concerned with these scores and they can be safely omitted. You may also include relevant information regarding scholarships or other academic achievement, but keep in mind that space is limited and that the space may be better used to communicate other important information on your resume. If you have questions about whether or not to include GPA, GMAT scores, scholarships, and other academic achievements, you may want to speak with a career coach to determine the best choice for you. In this section, you're also going to include information about your undergraduate education. Be sure to include both the name of the institution as well as the city and the state where the institution was located. Please note, if you received your undergraduate degree from the University of Minnesota, you do not need to repeat University of Minnesota a second time. Instead, just include the college from which you received your degree, the complete title of the degree that was received, as well as your academic major. Finally, be sure to include both the month as well as the year in which your degree was conferred. In this section, you may also wish to include relevant academic achievements, awards, and scholarships from your undergraduate education. If you graduated with Latin honors, for example, you could include this information here. Some students also elect to include their GPA in this section, although this is generally not necessary unless an employer lists specific undergraduate GPA requirements in the job description. Please note, if you're pursuing your master's degree in human resources and industrial relations, most employers are interested in seeing this undergraduate GPA on your resume. If you have questions about whether or not to include this information, please speak with a career coach to determine if this is the right choice for you. Next, we're going to focus our attention on the experience section of the resume. In this section, you can include any work history, internships, volunteerism and community service, as well as projects you've completed that help communicate your relevant skills and experiences to potential employers. Keep in mind that what you deem relevant is likely to change from one version of your resume to the next as you apply to different types of positions in different industries and with different companies. For each of your work experiences that you include on your resume, you'll need to include the name of the employer, as well as the city and state where you worked. Also include your job title, as well as the dates of your employment. Include both the month and year of your start date, as well as the month and year in which the experience ended. If you're still currently employed, you can list present instead of listing an end date. Please note that when listing your job title, you must include the exact job title that was assigned to you during your time with the company. It's never acceptable to alter or change a job title in order to make it appear more impressive to employers or more relevant to the types of positions to which you're applying. Start with your most recent experiences and work backwards through your work history in reverse chronological order. Generally, employers expect to see students summarize their work experience from the completion of their undergraduate education to the present day. However, if you choose to exclude certain experiences because they are less relevant, be sure that your resume doesn't contain any significant gaps in your work history. If you have any questions about what experiences to include on your resume, you may want to speak to a career coach to determine the best course of action for you. The last section of the resume template allows you to provide additional information to employers to tell them a bit about other experiences that reflect your personal brand. Here you might include leadership experiences, community service or volunteerism, relevant skills, certifications, or language proficiencies that you have that are relevant to the types of positions that you'll be applying for. Again, it's important to think about your target audience and what may be appealing to potential employers. Select one heading from the drop-down list of options and provide any information that you feel is relevant to your job search. Please keep in mind that in this section, it's generally best practice to exclude any information related to political or religious affiliations, as these can be viewed negatively by some employers. Hobbies and personal interests should also generally be excluded, as these are rarely relevant to the MBA recruiters who'll be viewing your resume. If you have questions about whether or not to include certain personal interests or extracurricular activities on your resume, be sure to speak with a career coach. Now that we've reviewed the various sections of the Carlson resume template, we want to share some strategies and best practices for creating high-impact, results-oriented bullets that will get you noticed by recruiters. We'll start by reviewing some basic rules for crafting strong bullets for your resume. First, let's discuss word choice. We've already discussed the importance of knowing your audience, and we saw a demonstration of how you can leverage job descriptions in order to learn more about the skills and experiences that recruiters are looking for. As you sit down to craft your resume bullets, be sure that you're utilizing key words from the job description for the positions that you're applying to. Use the worksheet that we discussed earlier in this presentation to guide this process. In addition, be sure to check out the resume keywords document that can be found on the Graduate Business Career Center intranet page. Here you'll find function and industry-specific keywords that employers are looking for in qualified talent in your target function, industry, or field. It's generally good practice to use some of these keywords throughout your resume to help recruiters see not only that you have experience in the areas you're targeting, but also that you can speak the language of the functions and industries in question. When crafting your resume bullets, it's customary to exclude unnecessary words, such as the articles a, an, and the. You should also eliminate any words that are highly specific to the work that you did at a previous employer, such as the name of a product that you sold. In general, you can communicate what you did and what results you accomplished without going into this additional detail. Remember, sometimes less is more. Next, we'll focus on the importance of selecting strong action verbs to begin each of your bullets. When crafting your bullets, you'll want to begin each with an action verb that communicates skills that recruiters are looking for in MBA talent. Be sure to check out the list of action words and high-impact phrases, which can also be found on the GBCC intranet page. Use this list to select strong action verbs that communicate the transferable skills that you want to highlight and market to employers. Also, view this list of keywords. Incorporate just enough technical terminology to show your familiarity with your target function or industry. However, be sure to not overuse these buzzwords. Whenever possible, you should avoid starting your bullets with phrases like responsible for or responsibilities included the following. These phrases sound passive and will make your resume read more like a job description rather than a summary of your accomplishments. Finally, students often wonder how long each bullet should be. In general, long, dense bullets make information hard to find and require too much effort on the part of the reader. A single bullet should usually take up no more than 3 lines on a resume. However, be sure that your bullets are of adequate length and are sufficiently detailed to highlight your accomplishments. Generally, this requires that each of your bullets take up at least 1 full line. Now that we've covered some basics, we can get started writing bullets for each of your positions. Before you start crafting bullets, it's important to understand the difference between listing your achievements and accomplishments and just simply stating your job responsibilities. A job responsibility is something that you do on a daily basis. It's a part of your job that's essential and was a minimum requirement of your position. On the other hand, an accomplishment is the specific result or outcome that you achieved while performing one of your job responsibilities. Employers want to know not only what you were responsible for, but what difference you made in your previous role. For this reason, your resume should primarily contain specific achievements and results so that you can come across as an essential component of the company's success, not just somebody who showed up for work and did what they were expected to do. Some students find that it can be very useful to read over past performance reviews or appraisals, as these often will give you a very clear picture of your most significant accomplishments while you were in role at a particular company. You might also want to speak with former managers or supervisors, or peers that you worked with in the past. These people can often give you a good idea of what stands out in their minds when they think about your work and your experience. Next, we're going to talk about the importance of communicating your accomplishments by using results in your resume. As we just learned, it's important to communicate to employers not only what you did, but what happened as a result of your efforts. In order to do this, use this simple formula as you think about your previous experiences. First, ask yourself what you did. Often, this might sound like something that you would find in your job description. Next, ask yourself why you did it. What were you trying to achieve or accomplish? What was your goal or intended outcome? Why were you assigned that specific task or project? Finally, ask yourself what happened as a result of your efforts. What was the outcome? Did anything change or improve as a result of your work? Let's look at an example. In this example, we have a student who is responsible for marketing and promotions as part of her job. This was something that fell under her job description, and it was part of her day-to-day roles and responsibilities. However, when she spent some time thinking about what she was trying to accomplish with these activities, the answer was clear. She was trying to get new customers to buy the services of her current company. Taking this a step further, she then reflected on what happened as a result of her actions. To do this, she thought about measurable changes that occurred as a result of her work. She remembered that her company saw a 15% increase in customers that year as a result of those promotional activities, which ultimately led to an increase in sales for the company. Putting this all together, let's look at the same resume bullet before and after. In the first example, we really only get a sense of what she was responsible for, one of her job responsibilities, which was coordinating marketing and promotional events. However, in the second example, we're able to take this job responsibility and turn it into a bullet that communicates that she had a significant impact on the bottom line at her company. If you're struggling to communicate results in your bullets, follow this simple formula to demonstrate to recruiters that you've made a difference in your previous roles. Your resume should present your achievements and results so that you come across as an essential component of the company's success. Results can be communicated in a number of ways, and you should think about which approach makes the most sense for you. For example, you may want to report figures, such as annual sales achieved. If possible, this is a good practice, as numbers and dollar signs often signal to the reader that you're speaking in terms of results. Percentages can also communicate results. For example, you might want to communicate a percentage increase in sales while you were in a role, or a percentage decrease in costs as a result of your efforts. Sometimes, it's not possible to include a quantifiable result on your resume because you don't have access to the specific numbers or financials of a previous employer. In this case, be sure to include a qualitative result instead. For example, did you make recommendations to leadership at the end of a project? If so, were these recommendations implemented? You can also communicate results by referencing your goals or objectives in completing a project. Ask yourself, what was I trying to accomplish in completing this task? And include that goal in your resume bullet. Let's take a look at some examples of resume bullets that communicate both quantitative as well as qualitative results. In this example, we see here that the student was responsible for developing and implementing marketing strategies. As you can see, the bullet reads a lot like a job description and doesn't really tell us what she was hoping to accomplish, the why part of the formula that we discussed earlier. We also don't know much about whether she had an impact on the bottom line. However, after she spent some time thinking about what happened as a result of her efforts, she was able to include that her efforts drove a 20% increase in sales during fiscal year 2012. We also learned that she was responsible for a $4 million budget and that she had some specific experience marketing pet food. This bullet is much stronger for a number of reasons. First, it gives us a sense of scope by informing the reader that she's assumed responsibility for a large marketing budget. This bullet also does a much better job of demonstrating that her work has made a difference at her previous organization and that she drove sales as a result. Finally, because she's included some detail about the types of products that she's marketed, she provides a bit of information about specific product knowledge and experience that she has. As mentioned, it's not always possible to include numerical results or metrics. That's when you can be more qualitative in your approach. In other words, you may not have specific numbers, but you know that certain things improved. In this example, we see that the student developed an application for tracking audits at his previous company. However, this bullet doesn't really provide us with any information about what happened as a result. Let's assume that this student left the organization before the new application was implemented, and as a result, he's not really sure if there were measurable changes that occurred as a result of his work. In this case, he simply had to ask himself what he was trying to accomplish with the task. Why did he take on this project? When he did this, he was able to come up with this revised bullet. Here we see what he was trying to accomplish. He was trying to enhance the auditing planning process by developing an online tool and driving efficiencies in the existing system at the company. Even though he does not have any concrete numbers to represent the time that he saved employees or the money that he saved the company as a result, we're still able to see what he was trying to accomplish through his work. Now that we've shown you a few key strategies to help you communicate results with your resume, we want to wrap up this presentation by outlining some next steps for you as you continue to work on your resume and communicate your personal brand to employers. Remember that the resume is a key tool in your marketing campaign and can be one of your most powerful marketing tools that you have at your disposal during your job or internship search. However, we want to remind you that crafting your resume is a process. Over the course of your time at Carlson, your resume will undergo a number of changes as you develop a clearer picture of your personal brand and of your professional goals. For this reason, we have a number of resources at the Graduate Business Career Center that can help you as you continue to work on your resume. We encourage you to seek out feedback from trusted peers during your time in the program as you continue to refine and polish your resume. Throughout the year, the GBCC hosts a number of events that can help you polish and refine your resume. During these workshops and events, students can bring copies of their resume to have it reviewed by one of the career coaches on a first-come, first-served basis. The GBCC also offers express advising most days of the week. These appointments, which generally last between 10 and 15 minutes, are available on a first-come, first-served basis. This is a great time to have a career coach review your resume and give you quick feedback and tips as you work on revisions and drafts. Once your resume is in fairly good shape and has been properly formatted according to the Carlson resume template, the GBCC also offers one-on-one coaching appointments to help you finalize your resume prior to recruiting. You can sign up for a coaching appointment using TalentLink, Carlson's online recruitment tool. We hope that you've enjoyed this webinar on developing your Carlson School of Management resume. If you have any questions about this presentation, or if you experience any difficulties in preparing your resume after viewing this webinar, please feel free to contact the GBCC to speak with a career coach. Good luck!